Hello and welcome to the Carnage at the Italian Grand Prix in Imola, not Monza, Imola. So the winner, I believe, was Nobuharu Masashitsu. Second was Wan Yuzhou, and third was Mick Schumacher.
Team will be very happy with today's performance and the final result. Another display of excellent driving and excellent teamwork, and a well-deserved first-place finish.
Japan, China, Germany. For the first DNF of the video, we have George Russell. It's not on the first lap, I just wanted to show off the start of the race before we begin. And now I'll go and show where Russell DNFs. And here we are. Russell DNFs as we go on to lap 2. And into the wall he goes. So I'll show that in a different angle. So this is what Russell saw. He's a car on the other side, and he slams into the wall. The next DNF is Lance Stroll, which happened a couple of seconds after George Russell. So there's Stroll, and he's slammed into by another car, but the other car manages to keep going. Here's the context for why he gets crushed out. So we're on board with Yuki Tsunoda, and so he's driving along. I hit him, he spins into the wall, then he comes round and accidentally drifts across into Stroll, which is why Stroll is out. However, Tsunoda manages to keep racing for the meantime. It isn't, however, for much longer, as he is the next DNF in the race, because he has to park out from an engine malfunction. The next DNF is Charles Leclerc. And there he goes. You probably couldn't see that very well, so I'll show it in a different angle. Here is his driver camera. So he's trying to overtake me, but I hit him, and then he stays in the wall until his tyre bursts, and he's forced to a halt. Next up is my teammate, Daniel Ricciardo, who is part of a very large crash that you see there. But I don't think very many people actually DNF'd in that crash, because I think it was only Ricciardo who really DNF'd. But I'll show it from different angles so that you can see it. So this is what Ricciardo saw in his cockpit cam. So he saw me going off, and then I come into him, he slams into the wall, he's slammed again, and he's hit a third and a fourth time. Now I'll show it from a different person's camera. This is what Giuliano Alesi saw. He is the Williams that came off the track with me. So he's off almost in the wall, and then he loses his wing. And that's all really that happened to him. But we does see the remnants of some of the crash. The next car in the train is Mick Schumacher, so let's show what he saw. However, as he was on the podium, he did not get much damage in this. He just saw cars going from both sides and managed to sleep through. Although he does have that little spin there. I did not know that he actually spun there. That's actually something that's surprising to me. But anyway, he did end up going to third, so yeah. Anyway, the next car that we'll go and see is Nikita Mazepin, as he's the next in the train. So, Mick is in front of him. And just like Mick, he's able to slowly sneak through, but unluckily I managed to get in front of him, so unlike Mick, he gets lost in a place. The next car in the train is Nicholas Latifi, who I think is the first one that actually gets caught up in the carnage. And yes, although it's not very much, he just hits the back end of Daniel Ricciardo. The next person in the train is a person that actually really does get involved with some of the carnage in the race, and it's Esteban Ocon. He slams straight into the back of Giuliano Alesi's Williams. You just get going though. Next up is another car that got really involved, Antonio Giovinazzi. But he does get going as well. The last car that fully gets involved in the crashes is Wanyujo. I did skip over Nobuharu Musashisa, but that's only because he skims the edge of Ricciardo's tyre and nothing else. And I guess that's the end for this crash, so now we go on to the next DNF. That DNF happens to be Esteban Ocon, who, after barely managing to survive the carnage and keep his car running, he does DNF, but not because he was slammed out of the race, just because his engine malfunctioned. So he gets himself going again, rather slowly. And then goes to a halt. The next DNF is Lando Norris. So he's driving along, well, quite normally, but then he collides with someone and is out the race. Here's the view from inside of his car. So he sees a car come along, and his suspension and engine are broken, and so he's out the race. The next DNF is Carlos Sainz. So, he drives in his train of 4 cars, and then as one overtakes, he tries to overtake, but unluckily, I was able to counter him, and he slams into the wall. Here is his cockpit cam. And he's hit the wall, he's drifts, and he's out of the race. The next DNF is Nikita Mazepan. Here is where Mazepan goes out. I think it's in the exact same style as Sainz. No, it's slightly different. Oh wait, I remember now. It's when he hit me in the back somehow. He hit me in the back and he lost his tyre. I'll show it in a different angle now. So he's driving along, and then he just hits my back tyre. And just like a couple of other DNFs that have happened in the past, I feel like that isn't exactly my fault. The next DNF is Pierre Gasly. So, just after Mazepan DNFs, he drives around, he tries to go around the outside of me, suddenly he can't. And as Bottas goes into the pit lane, he tries to overtake, and I squash him a bit too much into the wall. Here he is, going for the overtake, and he's just squished into the wall, which leaves him DNF'd. The next DNF is Max Verstappen, as the game calls him. And so I'll now go to where he DNFs. He DNFs also alongside Lewis Hamilton. So as soon as we're done with Verstappen, I can go straight onto Hamilton. So I come along and collide with him, and then I collide with Hamilton. And so I'll show their DNF slightly differently now. So here's Verstappen's cockpit camera, and that's what he sees as he's DNF'd, which is in the exact same way as Pierre Gasly now I think of it. And here's what Hamilton sees, both for the hit for Verstappen's crash and his own. So he's hit, and he's pulled up against the wall. Next up we have Antonio Giovinazzi and Fernando Alonso, which are almost exactly the same as Verstappen and Hamilton's crashes. So there's Giovinazzi's, and there's Alonso's. Now we have Antonio Giovinazzi's camera for what he saw during his DNF, and also you can just barely not see Fernando going DNF. Then this is what I see during this entire thing, because for some reason both me and Fernando Alonso go invisible for half a second, which I always find weird. And so I come across into Giovinazzi, and I come across into Alonso. Now I'll show Alonso's camera. There we go. So here's what Alonso sees for the entire thing. So he almost gets hit by Antonio Giovinazzi as he comes up across him, and then he's slammed into the wall by me. And so the double DNF of Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, and the double DNF of Antonio Giovinazzi and Fernando Alonso are almost identical in the race. We are now into the last two DNFs of the race, the first of which being Valtteri Bottas. And that's not him DNFing, that's just me showing you him just getting drifted out of the race. He actually DNFs here. A move similar to, I believe, the one that I pull on Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris in, I think, Monza, which was a video I think I released in like April. But yeah, slightly similar thing, where we just pull the racer into the pits. Here it is inside of Bottas's cockpit camera, and he's hit the wall and he's now out of the race. And for the last DNF of the race, we have Sergio Perez's DNF. He DNFs on this lap, and so I thought it would be fun to watch the last car to DNF's final lap. Just gonna get him out the pit lane though, so it's not slow. Here we go. And we couldn't see that because of the hill. And so, I'll show it from a different angle. So this is what Perez sees. So he sees my car is drifting across and accidentally slams into it. He's got a tyre stringing out, and then he's crashed. And he's been pushed by me to the road. I don't know why I played around with the DNF'd car, but I did. And here's what I did. So the car comes across me, and so I decide to push it. I lose control of my car, I drift around, and so I reversed into it. I don't know why they did this. I guess because I was in last and I knew that there was no way I would ever be able to catch up. And so I just had some fun. And now I'll go and do and show the final lap that I had. Before I show my final lap, I just thought it would be fun to show this funny thing that I tried to do. Instead of trying to push him into the wall, I pushed Latifi into the pit lane. Just thought it was a funny thing to do. Because I needed a pit lane stop, and so I just thought I'd push a rival in there. And now for my final lap of the race, which we will show the entirety of. And this is to make up for the fact that I'm planning on not showing the entire race like I did in Bahrain. From what I'm planning on only doing that for like the first and last race of the season this now. So it will be probably Bahrain and Abu Dhabi only. Unless the first race of this series changes. Like, I could change it so that Abu Dhabi is the first race of the series, or Australia again, or Spain, or England, or France. These are just countries that I know of tracks off the top of my head. But, like, I can change how the races go at the end of a series. And so if I wanted, I could change Bahrain and Abu Dhabi from being the first and last races of the series to something else. Also, the reason that I'm only on lap 13, yet this is the last lap of my race, is because I was lapped twice by Massachusetts, as well as Joe and Mick Schumacher. I was lapped by Nobuharu, Massachusetts, Guan Yu Zhou, and Mick Schumacher twice, which is why lap 30 is my last lap of the race. There's Massachusetts. And we have now reached the end of the race. Thank you for watching this video. Please make sure to like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next race.